Hi, I'm Barry Ostrowski. At RWJ Barnabas Health, we believe that everyone needs to be informed about the important healthcare issues affecting their lives. That's why we're proud to support the important educational programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by TD Bank, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. RWJ Barnabas Health. Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State. The law firm of Gibbons, P.C. Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department. And by Verizon. Promotional support provided by NJ.com. Small news, big news, true Jersey. And by Jaffe Communications, where business, media, and government converge in New Jersey.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
President died.
Hi, Steve Adubato here. We are thrilled once again to be joined by Dr. Joel Bloom on, it's your campus, it's your students' campus, and it's our second home, NJIT, the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Good to see you, Doctor.
Welcome, Steve, and to this outstanding show.
Thank you. Hey, by the way, we're coming on campus this morning, and do yourself a favor, a lot of security, but get onto the campus here because I am stunned by all the construction, all the activity. What is going on here?
So it's $375 million worth of construction and renovation, and what was critical is the State Bond Act that was approved in 2012 by the voters of New Jersey for higher ed facilities. NJIT materialized about $120 million from that Bond Act. We're investing the rest to get us to $375 million. So we're building a new life sciences and engineering building. We totally renovated the 200,000 square foot Central High School, state-of-the-art labs, very focused on biology and new kind of learning classrooms. And we're building a 200,000 square foot WEC, Wellness and Event Center.
That's what the WEC is.
That's the WEC. It's a Wellness and Event Center. We will be able to host professional conferences here for 4,500 people come next spring of 2018. So it's an athletic center, but about 60% of the building is multi-purpose for our students, our staff, our faculty, our community. But most important, really important, is the ability to bring professional conferences into the city of Newark.
Clearly, colleges and universities, they play a more and more important role from an economic development perspective. We'll talk about healthcare, talk about a whole range of issues in cities and places across this nation. But recently, there was a $10 million state appropriation in the budget that is going directly to NJIT for something called Makerspace, and which I know is a national movement. But what is Makerspace? What's going to go on here? Multi-part question, and why does it matter to the people watching right now?
So first of all, manufacturing. So the whole purpose of Makerspace is manufacturing. And we shouldn't lose sight. The largest global manufacturer, 25% of global manufacturing is done by China. But right behind China at 19% is the United States. So we're still a manufacturing country. And in the state of New Jersey, you may have read about the new initiative between Corning, Merck, and Pfizer, manufacturing in Violin, New Jersey, having to do with glass packaging.
Right.
So manufacturing is 10% of the employees in the state of New Jersey. So if you want to work in part in manufacturing, producing products. Makerspace focuses on advanced manufacturing. That kind of glass manufacturing that's going to occur down at the Vineland Corning facility is advanced manufacturing. New materials,
Is it 3D printing?
3D printing in part. So today, car parts, body parts, are being done.
Body parts?
Body parts. It's experimental. They're not in any, to my knowledge, they're not in anyone's body yet.
You would know, Joel.
But, you know, we're still using, for example, in hearts, we're using pig valves and mechanical valves. Eventually, that'll all be 3D printed. And the beauty of 3D printing, advanced manufacturing as compared to mass manufacturing, is the customization of the parts. So you can customize stuff in Makerspace that you don't do in a mass
But what's going to go on here? Are they training? Help me understand. Is it
so
training?
we want students to leave here. So first and foremost, it's an educational facility. We want students to leave here and know about innovation, to know about production, to know about manufacturing, to know about new machining, to know about new materials. That Corning plant, the Giga plant out in Reno between Panasonic and Tesla.
Innovation?
Innovation. It's all about new materials, new methods of manufacturing, how to do it better, how to do it faster, how to do it less expensive and more effective and efficient. So that Makerspace is going to be a home for state-of-the-art equipment, including the 3D printers. Stryker already donated one of their most advanced printers so we can train our students who work in large numbers at Stryker to do that kind of work. Manufacturing in the state of New Jersey is massive. I visited a manufacturing...
It could be much stronger.
Much stronger. You probably saw the McKinsey study of a week or two ago. They're maintaining that we could grow in the next decade this economy in the state of New Jersey by $150 billion if we have 250 more million workers to help it grow the economy, and we innovate, and we manufacture, we improve our roads. You saw a ridiculous figure. They estimate $4 billion a year is lost on people sitting on congested, broken roads in the state of New Jersey.
But go back to the other part. The mismatch between the workforce and the skills that many have in the workforce and the needs of these very innovative industries to employ them. There's a mismatch.
There's a mismatch. So I was right out here. I went out to East Hanover, one of our alums who has 4 factories around the world. He makes specialized surgical equipment, okay, that goes up in the body and cut and does all the necessary things, including robotic parts. He can't get enough people with engineering backgrounds, engineering technology backgrounds. So in this case, our dear alum gives back to the university, supports the scholarships for these students, and then hires them, offers them internships and hires them. The students are ready to hit the ground running after the internships and being immediately productive for a massive industry of surgical parts, surgical instrumentation.
Let me ask you this, by the way, much of what we're doing here at NJIT, this particular go-around, this series of programs for one-on-one, and some will air on our other sister series, State of Affairs, is dealing with innovation. And so there's so many people. Some are NJIT alums. Jen Eichlin, help me on this. The founder of Keurig?
Yes, the Keurig coffee machine.
And Dick Sweeney, is it Sweeney?
Dick Sweeney
comes from here, right? A graduate here, still connected to NJIT, but invented this extraordinary invention, right? Innovation. But my point is that whole thing. Before I ask you a larger question about what our next governor needs to be thinking about in terms of innovation, a big picture question, why do you think so many of your alums still stay tied to this place?
Time and time and time again, when I get an opportunity to meet with our alums, whether it's here on campus or in their workplace, their factories, their computer science labs, they tell me they owe what they're doing today to the education they received here. That it taught them the science, it taught them the technology, it taught them how to do so much of or too much of education, particularly in science and technology, can easily be theoretical.
Right.
But if you don't understand the application of the science and the theory and the technology, you may not be as productive. We have been historically and will continue to be, and that's what Makerspace is about, an applied polytechnic STEM university. Students leave here and they know what to do their first day on the job.
STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. Real quick before I let you go, New Jersey's next governor, January 2018. When it comes to innovation, he or she needs to do what?
We need an ecosystem for innovation. Again, back to the McKinsey study. Too little places of innovation. We're in the process of buying another parcel of property. We'll be building a new building within the next several months to be our third incubator building. We incubate buildings. We incubate companies and buildings here on
Give
this
them
campus.
opportunities to grow.
Give them opportunities to innovate, to invent,
Right.
to improve, to be productive, to sell product and process.
Dr. Joel Bloom is the president of New Jersey Institute of Technology. We are honored once again to be here on this campus with, by the way, as we're walking through, there must be over 1,000 students, not even college students, but younger students, high school students, just getting a feel for what it's like to be on a college campus. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you. It's the pipeline.
It is. Got to keep the pipeline moving. Be right back right after this.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are pleased to welcome back Ed and Sue Goldstein, who are the founders of the Valerie Fund for Cancer and Blood Disorders, and they were, in fact, inducted into the 2016 New Jersey Hall of Fame recently. We want to congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
What was that like?
Well, I think it was a little shocking.
But well-deserved.
Well, yeah, I think the Valerie Fund well deserved it.
Yeah.
That's why we were there to represent
That's right.
the organization, the Valerie Fund.
And for those who, people know the name, the Valerie Fund, but they may not know exactly what it is and how it started. Talk to us.
Well, we started right after we lost our daughter, Valerie. What it was, we were treated at Baby's Hospital in New York, which was an all-day affair getting there and back and forth. And as you well know, at that time, once you did your chemotherapy, it was a constant upchucking.
Right.
And you're driving on 8078, the Garden State Parkway,
right.
and you're stopping constantly. And there were so many people there who couldn't see their children on a daily basis for a lot of reasons. Financial is the main one. And Sue and I just decided that it's not right. New Jersey has a lot of fine institutions and great doctors. Why isn't there a facility in New Jersey? There was nothing in New Jersey for pediatric oncology. You had to either go to the big cities, New York or Philadelphia, or you were treated by an adult oncologist, which is totally different than a pediatric oncologist. And we had our first meeting with our group. We gathered a lot of friends together and people and told them what we wanted to do. And we made a meeting at Overlook Hospital, and as I said, it was serendipitous because they were looking to do something in this field, and they needed the impetus, and we gave it to them. And that's how we got started.
That's how you created the Valerie Fund.
Pardon?
That's how you created the Valerie
Yes.
Fund.
In our living room.
Yeah.
It began in our living
It's
room.
grown tremendously.
Yeah.
And the impact it has, just so people can be clear, because the website will be put up now and other times throughout this conversation, it is dedicated to helping parents.
It's a comprehensive health care for children with cancer and blood disorders. That's our title there. And one of the things we wanted was to make sure that the family stayed together.
Right.
When we went into New York to have Valerie's treatment, our other daughter, our older daughter, was left at home.
Stacy?
Stacy, right, was left at home with babysitters, family members. It was
Separate the family.
That's
it was
correct.
terrible. It was terrible.
But I've always been fascinated by this. We had your executive director on as well.
Oh, Barry? Yeah.
Barry's great.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, when I was thinking about both of you, we've interviewed people in the past who have experienced some pretty terrible things, and the loss of a child is pretty much it. For those who are wondering, why did you choose to go further into this to try to be more helpful to others, as opposed to saying, let me get away from this experience and losing our beautiful daughter at such a young age? What caused you to go toward it?
Well,
It was something that we had to do. It was inside
Had
of
to
it.
do?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We did it for Valerie, And we did it for all the folks that we met there that had no place to turn. To go into New York, we met a couple who was from Sayreville. Not a couple, the mom, she would come on a Saturday and the father would come on a Sunday. They couldn't afford the trip to New York. They couldn't afford the time. And we were surrogate parents to them.
And do you, excuse me for interrupting, but also the ambulances would pick up a child who needed to get to the hospital. They didn't have any cars. There was no way for them to get there. So they would be picked up by the ambulance, and the ambulance would take them to the hospital, and then they'd have to wait.
And now you have a bus service.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, you're connected to so many different hospitals, but Newark Beth and St. Joseph's, too, we know very well. You're connected to them as well, right?
Right.
Is there Camp Happy Times?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you mind if we show a clip?
Not at all.
Camp Happy Times is part of the Valerie Fund, right?
It is the Valerie Fund.
It is. It is a Valerie Fund camp.
We just called it Camp Happy Times.
I think it's a great
for
name.
the kids.
Yeah.
Can we mind if we take a look and we'll talk about it?
Love to.
Let's take a look.
You get to enjoy all the freedoms that camp gives you and still have all the responsibilities of being whatever age you are.
By the end of the week, nobody wants to go home.
Having the ability to come back to being with other people that have been ill, like yourself, and then get to go back to, you know, what I kind of call my real world, you know. My real world is, you know, what a large degree the Valerie Fund has given us, in that it gives you the independence to know that you will not be your disease for forever, and you will remember being sick, but it will just be a period of time.
Wow.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. One of the children there came back, and it came from an inner city child, and couldn't stop talking about Camp Happy Times, the people they met and everything. And the other child said to Mommy, can I go next year?
Wow.
And the mother said, I'm sorry, honey, excuse me, but it's only for children with cancer. And the child thought for a minute and said, Mom, how could I get cancer?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, it tears you apart.
Did you ever think that you'd have this kind of impact?
But you know, the story that sits in my head that has always been there is this young boy who had a leg amputated, and he was water skiing. And I see him
at Camp Happy Times?
At Camp Happy Times. I see him to this day zooming along the water on one leg.
Wow.
It was, amazing.
And another beautiful part is that 80% of our counselors are people who once had cancer.
Really?
And were there before.
Did you do that by design?
Well, we were hoping to, but the kids, they come back, some were in their 40s, and they come back every year.
We have somebody from England.
Okay,
who's part of the camp?
Yes, yes. It's just incredible. We have people who take their vacations there for 1 week. Our doctors and nurses do, and a lot of the counselors.
Yeah. Well, let's just say that the committee at the New Jersey Hall of Fame made a really good choice.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You honor us by joining us on public broadcasting and FiOS and all the digital platforms that we are seeing, because I have a feeling just in this short period of time, you've helped a lot of people. And I know people are going to go on the website to find out more about the Valerie Fund. And it would not be what it is if it were not for Ed and Sue Goldstein, two incredible leaders.
I
who
want
founded
to just
it.
correct you. There were so many people who helped us. We didn't do it alone.
It was a grassroots.
It's a grassroots operation.
Well said. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Wish you nothing but the best.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be right back. Stay right there.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We're speaking with Dr. John DeLuca with Kessler Foundation, also research professor at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School. Doctor, we're having a forum tonight here with Kessler Foundation on MS research. What is MS exactly?
MS is a neurologic disease that affects the brain. It actually is the disease that really affects middle-aged and young adults. It's the leading disease that affects them in their everyday lives. It affects their financial status, their family status, their work status. And what we do here at the foundation is very unique. We look at not just the sensory motor problems, we look at the hidden disabilities that you see patients with MS. It's very unique what we do here.
Hidden disabilities, be more specific.
Yeah, the hidden disabilities. People know when you have motor problems, if you can't see, sensory problems. But if you have a problem with your memory or your ability to learn or pay attention, or if with fatigue, you really can't see those that well. And so what we do, and patients very much experience these, and they can really affect their everyday lives. So we work with those hidden disabilities rather than what people can see, like motor and sensory problems.
Help us on this, doctor. We use the term research, and we often assume that people know exactly what is meant by that. Describe that research. Well, what does it look like?
The research that we do. Well, you know, we look at these cognitive problems, and it's really unique what we do, is we don't just assess the cognitive problems, we do something about it. That is rehabilitation. That's a big difference, because a lot of what happens in multiple sclerosis is that we find that people have problems. But here at the Kessler Foundation, we try to do something about those problems. So we look at interventions that can improve these hidden disabilities, cognitive problems, and fatigue problems.
Break down some of those quote-unquote interventions.
Well, for example, for cognition, for memory, one of the biggest complaints patients have is I can't remember things anymore. So what we do is we take specific interventions that we know can improve learning and memory, and can we teach patients to use it in their everyday life? And what we find is that we can actually do that. It improves their cognitive function, it improves their everyday life, and it actually does so at the level of the brain. We can show differences in the brain when they're using these techniques.
John, let me ask you this. Do we know why MS actually affects memory?
Well, what we do know is that it's related to brain pathology. So the more brain pathology you have, the more you may have a memory problem. But it's
define pathology.
Pathology is sort of damage in the brain, more atrophy, or more disconnections. It's really quite interesting. So we're able to look at the brain and see what areas are not connecting to each other. So sometimes it's not more atrophy, it's where those disconnections are. And we can look at that in a very sophisticated way here at the Kessler Foundation.
To what degree, Doctor, do we really understand some of the challenges, the real quality of life challenges that people with MS are facing?
Well, we know that it affects quality of life. We know that it affects their social functioning, their home. Imagine going home and you've been a professor or a teacher, and now you can't help your child with their homework, and how you feel about that. We know that it has an impact. We know that people with MS, with 5 to 7 years after their disability, they can't work. A large percentage of them have to leave work, go on social supports. We know it has a vast impact on their lives.
So it's so interesting. People listening to you right now might be thinking you're largely talking about what appears to be the physical impact, the physical destruction, if you will, and maybe that's not the right word, but the problems that people with MS have. You're also talking about the cognitive memory issues, right?
I'm talking about these hidden disabilities. So, for example, we did a research study where we looked at driving ability in patients with MS who don't have physical problems. And we found that they had difficulty driving and actually had more accidents. So they're really not the sensory motor problems. These problems in their lives have to do with cognitive and fatigue issues.
So wait a minute. They have problems driving because?
Because they have problems in their thinking, in their memory, in their ability to have a quick reaction time. And I don't mean motor quick reaction time. I mean cognitive processing-wise, it's slow. They can't make the cognitive decision quickly enough to decide what to do in a situation like in a driving.
In the limited time we have, let me ask you this. Is it also challenging, or to what degree is it challenging, Dr. DeLuca, for a patient with MS to communicate to those around him or her that they are experiencing these so-called hidden challenges or problems?
You know, I'll tell you, Steve, it's one of the biggest things we hear from our patients is, you know, the essence of a humanness is their cognition, their ability to express themselves. And when they can't do that, they feel embarrassed, they get anxious, they withdraw socially, so they stop going out, they stop doing things in their lives because they because of these cognitive hidden disabilities. So it has a huge, profound effect on them.
Finally, with all the challenges, with all the difficulties, and I imagine the heartache connected to the experience of a lot of MS patients that you deal with, the benefits, the positive things that come from the research that you're involved in.
The really good news, I think, is that we have treatments to improve learning and memory and processing speed and cognition. We have these. The problem is we don't have a drug industry that promotes these kinds of things. You know, most people are doing big trials with drugs and medications to sort of stop the disease or halt the disease. We're looking at how to help patients right now. The good news is we have those treatments. We have to get it out there.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by TD Bank, PSE&G, RWJ Barnabas Health, Choose New Jersey, the law firm of Gibbons PC, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Home to some of the world's leading food companies, New Jersey has a rich history in the food industry. Today, New Jersey has a thriving $100 billion food and agriculture sector that's growing every day. We're home to thousands of food manufacturers, research facilities, and distribution centers. Food companies benefit from our strategic location, affordable space, and talented workforce. Whether you make it, bake it, or innovate it, New Jersey is the place to be. To learn more, visit choosenj.com.